Well, let me ask you, because I understand you like baseball.
I do like
Okay.
Someone's been listening to the show.
So what do you think of the Houston Astros?
Oh, the Astros are, well, last I checked, they were tied for the best record in baseball with the Yankees.
Right.
So, yeah, I would put them as the odds-on favorite to win the World Series.
Wow. And were they the odds-on favorite 6 or 7 years ago?
No, they were cellar dwellers. They were horrible.
They were horrible.
6 or 7 years ago in particular, they blew up their whole team and just kind of started rebuilding by getting good losing, which got good draft picks, which built up their minor league system.
Right.
And they were in rebuild mode.
Right. So what do you think changed at the Astros to go from zero to hero? What was the big change at the Astros?
Well, I think they had to make a conscious decision of what is it going to take to be successful? What are we going to need to do?
Right.
And then make some sacrifices, but then also kind of reset their principles and philosophies.
Right. So, and who did that?
Well, usually in baseball, it's usually the general manager makes that decision.
Right. So I went to the American School in Mexico City, and one of my classmates was named Jeff Luhnow. And Jeff Luhnow is the general manager of the Houston Astros. So
super cool.
Talk about culture shift.
Yeah.
From zero to now World Series champs, and Billy Beane even said, I think he said, I know Jeff Luhnow is going to take these guys to the World Series within 5 years. I think he took them in 4 years.
Yeah.
And not only to the World Series, but to championship, to be the world champions. And I actually asked him to endorse my book, and he said, John, I can't. We just won the World Series. And that was really cool. So Jeff is an example of how a manager, a leader, a coach can come into an organization and really make drastic changes to make it better and less dysfunctional.
Yeah, but I think and we can probably get into this, but I think the important part of that story, and I see it a lot when there's culture change, is it's not all kind of rainbows and roses.
It's not.
There's some pain along the way. You have to, people have to be invited to leave. You lose some people. Sometimes you lose people you don't want to lose.
Yeah.
And so there's some real rocky spots.
Yeah.
And so to get to be a World Series champ, they had to be willing to absorb, I think, 2 or 3 or 4 years of just the worst record in baseball, just losing horribly.
Yes.
While they're rebuilding. And
Yes.
and that can be hard for people to say, all right, I'm going to go through a losing streak in order to become a champion.
Right. Well, I was at a class reunion about 5 years ago, and he had to leave all of a sudden, the class reunion, and I saw in the news the next day where he had to let a player go. So, so yes, you go through a lot of pain and suffering as you're building a great culture.
Yeah. So, okay, great analogy. And great story, because I do love baseball, and so works perfect for me.
Well, I'm proud of him. He's really done well.
So let's talk a little about, for the person listening, and they're thinking about their team or their department or their group, where do they start? How do they think about culture? What are some starting places that when you think about where a leader needs to kind of dive into this big thing called culture, where do they need to begin?
Right. So just to start off with, what I've found out over the years is that a manager's role is very different from a coach's role, which is very different from a leader's role. A manager's very much task-oriented and has to get things done. A coach helps you grow and get better, and a leader inspires. And so I think what we have is we've got organizations and teams right now that are being run by managers, and sometimes untrained managers, and that's all right. In the short run, it causes a lot of dysfunction, as your show talks about. The thing is, as we train the managers to really manage well, as we train the coaches and as we train the leaders, and some are naturally gifted in those areas, they get better at that particular skill set. What I find is we tend to promote managers, and sometimes good and sometimes not so good, up to the leadership levels because they get things done. And then we wonder why they're not very good with people.
Right.
And why there's dysfunction in companies, because they say, oh, my general manager doesn't know how to treat people. And so we really have to focus on soft skills and on training the leaders with soft skills. And that's part of what our company does, is soft skills for technical people. It could be finance people, accounting people, engineers, IT people, they get promoted up the ranks. They need the soft skills because the soft skills are proven. If you want to direct change, which change is going on everywhere in companies, it's the soft skills that are going to help you change. It's not the processes and systems. And it's really, somebody who likes to get things done is not going to consult with others before they make a decision. And they say it costs you $1 if you involve people up front, $100 if you involve them right before you make the decision, and $10,000 afterwards. And we go to 10,000 every time.
Yeah.
Companies like SAP exist because human nature exists, and we make that $10,000 decision, and we shove it down people's throats. And so what I say is, hey, take some time to involve people up front. And that's really the job of a leader. And the leader, as I've gone to know through the years, is really about employees.